Davin and Jack are not role models. They're just two guys in a garage drinking beer and talking. Some of what is said is not in the best taste or interest of national security. Some of the statistics they cite are not 100% accurate. Do your own research. They may be wrong about anything and everything. Their memories are bad because they're kind of old and have been drinking. Oh yeah, always remember to drink responsibly. Who are we kidding? The only people that are watching this are their moms and some random guy who passed out with autoplay on. And welcome to 240 Tuesdays.
All right, welcome back to 240 Tuesdays. I'm Davin, that's Jack.
I'm Jack, that's Davin, and this is episode 2.
Episode 2. All right, we're going to try and get some live chat stuff going on here real quick. See how it goes. Last week, we're going to go through some corrections. We want to be kind of factual in what we are doing. We're green. We gotta make sure we're set. Gotta text my mom, make sure she's watching. Last week, I just wanted to make sure we were talking about Timothy Oliphant. Timothy Oliphant
is you were talking about Josh Duhamel.
Yeah. Timothy Oliphant is the actual actor for Justified and Deadwood that we talked about, but we were talking about the Josh Duhamel of Transformers, which was completely my bad, but wanted to make sure we got that squared away and going for that side of things. So that's cleared up. Next week we will also have live chat. We're trying to go ahead and check out the live chat over here on the computer. So if I look a little distracted, I'm just trying to get some questions and making sure the live chat is up and working for people. Anybody wants to join in, say hi, say something. It says we're live now.
Oh,
so
all right.
Yeah, we should be good. Maybe we're delayed. Maybe we're that awesome that they have to delay us and make sure that things are going on there. One bit of sad news I want to open with. Grant Thompson, the king of randomness, taught us how to make homemade forges. Fireworks out of matches. Just a great guy all around. Unfortunately perished in a paragliding accident about a week ago. Sad news. We do have 40s. 40s this week. Non-labeled 40s.
Because we're not sponsored yet.
No sponsors. Actually, we do have a sponsor. Ready for the dad joke sponsor of the day?
Yes.
We're sponsored by D's. Okay, the long pause is good enough.
Cue crickets.
Everybody who knows that, all right, that's my thing. But maybe at some time in the near future, we'll actually have a sponsor. Hey, Dollar Shave Club, Audible, everybody else that puts out there, give us a code. We'll shout it out to you. So,
G Fuel.
Yeah, got it.
So this week we got a couple topics lined up, and then we'll hit the bucket for random stuff to talk about. If you have any random topics you want to submit, feel free to put them in the comments. And then we'll hit the bucket for random stuff to.
Oh, sorry.
You have any random topics?
Hang on, we are live, and I'm looking for the chat. Okay, we have a chat over here. In the future, next week, it will be on the screen.
And we're professionals.
Yeah, 100%. That's how we roll. Nothing better.
But so this week we're going to start off talking about immigration, but since we hit so many broad topics and we limit ourselves to 15 minutes, we're going to kind of focus it down to a portion of our broad political topic that we start each segment with. So this week we're hitting on immigration and more specifically the wall. How effective it is, what's the benefits or detriments or whatever. So I know Davin has a word or two to say on this.
Oh, no, stop. Last week you sold me out and put me first.
Oh.
So this week, because you got me off guard and I went first,
okay,
we're gonna go back with you. Now, unfortunately, for everybody that's watching, the wall is a good topic. There's so many pieces to this; it's just crazy. But I think it's good. So we're gonna start with the timer here. I want to make sure. All right. Well, we might be laggy because we're wireless and the entire household is watching. So the kbps keeps going up and down a little bit, and maybe people will get offline for 20 phones in the house so we can have some bandwidth on there. We'll see how that goes. On a side note, we will have the video of this that we can update if we are laggy, that side coming through, and we will put a connection into the laptop coming in for next week.
Yeah.
So, alright.
Wall.
Alright, I'm getting the timer set.
Alright, hit it.
Timer set at 15 minutes. Go.
Walls don't do shit. So
I'm gonna have to drink. I'm gonna let him talk by.
Alright, so we've had walls over significant sections of the southern border for a long time, and the immigration problem is still ongoing. And so I think it was just a talking point for our current president. I think it actually worked for him because a lot of people bought onto it. A lot of people jumped on the fear train, and a wall sounds safe. It takes us back to our castle days and when walls protect us from the bad guys. But in all actuality, if people want to get over, they're going to make their lives better or try to improve the situations of their family, and a wall's not going to stop them. Just like a giant river doesn't stop them, just like pretty much anything, because when you want to do better for you and your family, you're going to go above and beyond and you're going to make things happen. And I think the wall's a waste of money. And I think our president wasted a lot of time and effort trying to make it happen, and instead thankfully settled for just repairing existing wall segments, and so he can make a certain population happy, which is great. More power to him. The immigration issue is much bigger than a wall can solve, and I think there are way more positive steps we can take that keep people in consideration of it, and also their well-being and their health and their happiness, because at the end of the day we're all humans, and that's fundamentally what matters to me. What do you think?
Well, you're 2 minutes into the conversation, and I think that was pretty shitty. So, the whole thing with a wall is a start of somebody standing up for something, okay? We have more illegal rapes and deaths a year than we do have mass shootings from illegal immigrants. That's a fact.
Do your research.
So, the situation comes down to is we are a good nation. I don't think we're the greatest nation yet. Trump's still working on that. But the situation comes down to when you offer people free health care, free money, of course they're going to come across because that draws them, okay? The wall was a great point in the elections to have some sort of standard to say how much is enough. You have to actually vet these people and make sure you know who's coming in our country, rather than, oh, let's just open it up and let everybody across whenever they want on how things go. So the situation comes down to, and I got like another minute 40.
You keep on rocking.
Yeah, because your rant. We're friends, it's okay, we can banter. A wall is a starting point to say, metaphorically or physically, we need to check what's happening at that border. We cannot have people just coming through whenever they want. And a wall, I don't care if it's a chain link fence. Well, I mean, I'd like a cow fence. Have you ever got hit with a... Yeah, that's not fun.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
You're still going.
Yeah, something to say, we're the greatest country, a great country, we're getting better. Why do we just let anybody come in and live off society for health care and food stamps and benefits when they don't help society? So the wall is the starting point. Episode 1, the starting point of what's going on. We have to look at it further, of course. But you got to start somewhere.
Okay.
And of course Mexico ain't going to pay for it.
Of course not.
They can't even pay for their own health insurance or
for the
Medicaid or food for their own people. You think they're going to pay for a wall?
Oh my God. No, they're not going to pay for the wall because the president said they would. And on general principle, why wouldn't you give that guy 2 middle fingers if he was like, they're going to pay for... No, of course not. Of course not. Because...
Every president has said, I'm going to pay, or someone's going to pay, or we're going to do for this. That's politics. That's how it goes.
What the... Okay.
Every president has lied.
All right,
Politicians lie to get elected. Now there has been, I don't care if or when Trump got elected, he goes out and he pours concrete for a 4 by 12 foot piece of concrete to go on the border wall. Fuck, he built the wall.
Okay. Well, as long as your bar's that low. All right, so...
Episode 1 is yours. It's okay. When we get into other things like crime and healthcare for illegals, I'm going to eat that shit up. But right now, I don't care if Trump goes out to the border and literally like lifts up a 4 by 8 plywood and taps it in, screws it in, and said, bitches, I got a wall.
Yeah, okay. I got to revisit a couple points. But first off, every president lies. Yeah, and we could talk about this again in the future, but this president lies more than all of them combined.
You can keep your health care, you can keep your coverage, you can keep your doctor, and 3 million people lost that.
Yeah, but a lot more gained Obamacare, and the only reason he made that compromise was so the Republicans would actually let him push it through.
So the people...
That's not the topic right now.
The people that kept Obamacare got Obamacare because I paid for it in my taxes so they could have health insurance.
Yeah, and I would pay double if we had double the amount of people under health care. But that's not the topic today.
All right, 8:57, that's not the topic. The topic is the wall.
The topic is the wall. All right, so we got to put up the wall because we got to keep out the big bad immigrants. Because they're going to mooch off of all us hardworking Americans. And that's simply not true. The majority of people that come into this country do so because they want to contribute. This country was built on immigrants and can still be built on immigrants. We're all immigrants because neither of us are full-blooded Native American. And that's how we roll. That is what America is. We thrive on immigrants and the amalgamation of culture and the melting pot of everything from food to fundamentals. And that's what we are. So, okay, maybe...
Of course that's what we are, but let's look at this situation of the whole thing.
Okay.
Back when Ellis Island was around, okay, both my great-great-great-grandparents came in from Canada, from Ireland or the UK. So they didn't come through Ellis, they came through Canada.
Okay.
My wife's great-great-great-grandparents came through Ellis Island. We have the book picture and all that stuff.
Right on.
When they came in through Ellis Island, they had what they had. There was no insurance, there was no food stamps, there was no support or, hey, come here, vote Democrat. Yeah, everybody sees me winking. I'm hoping to piss him off. And we will give you a life. Everybody came with what they had in their pockets. And I really want the quote on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty, because even it says, give us your hungry, your weak, your poor. Everybody forgets the last line, which says, hey, don't fuck with us. You need to earn your keep. I'll have it next week. That
sounds verbatim.
Yeah. Isn't it perfect?
All right. Okay.
But the whole thing is everybody came here knowing that the only way you get ahead is your hard work. And your hard work and contribution helps this country become great.
Like the vast majority of today immigrants.
No, not today.
Yes.
No, there's no way today. You can't come across the border with 4 kids and a female and come across the border and 2 days later be accepted into this country with food stamps and insurance from California that taxpayers pay so you can have a life.
Yeah, but the Californian voters voted to do that because it's the right human thing to do.
Okay. You don't work hard. You don't have your ancestors and people working hard to pay taxes and build this country on sweat equity to let somebody else who wants to come in and live off of your taxes. come in and be like, hey, I got health care and food. I got food stamps. I don't have to work. I got Section 8. I just have to come in illegal with 4 kids, depending on the amount of kids, and now I get more money, so here you go. Now I can make a life for myself without working because taxpayers that work their ass off and the immigrants that founded this country could be like, hey, we're good.
Yeah. And if these people exist, they are a dramatic minority of immigrants. They're not, no one's coming here for a free ride. There are plenty of people come here. And
half of them are coming for a free ride. You cannot say that people from Honduras. Okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to come back next week with facts, and I will reference the facts and the crime and the health care and the food stamps and come back and be like, why are we as American taxpayers paying for illegals or hardship people coming from Honduras through Mexico to come to America with 2 or 3 kids coming over? I'm going to change gears.
Because we can. And
no, we can't.
Yes,
you can't. Here's the analogy that started this whole idea for this podcast. Okay, Jack and I were sitting in an office, and we had a debate. And the debate was, is you have a castle, or you have a city with a wall around it, okay? You don't get a better city and progress your city by letting people in that are uneducated, don't work, can't work, and want food stamps and health care.
In your castle.
In your castle. You want people who are educated, who want to work, who do not want to be on food stamps or assistance. Those are the people how your castle and your walls and your society becomes better. But when you just open the gates and let criminals, which is a fact, we'll get the stats, and people who have hardships coming into your castle and not working and helping out the greater good of the people, that castle crumbles from the inside. The only way you can have a strong economy and a strong country is to actually have educated, smart people that want to work, as the people that came through Ellis Island with no health care, no food stamps, no nothing. What's on your back? Mm-hmm. Help build this country.
Okay, sticking with the castle.
All right.
If you do bring someone into your protective, awesome walls of your castle, because they're suffering and they're escaping violence and they're trying to protect themselves and their family, and you literally save them and usher in a new era of their lives, they're gonna love you. And they're gonna do everything they can to help you and your castle be better. And that's what happens, because people that do come in here and get a fair shot and do work love the U.S.
So somebody comes into your castle, they're grateful that you let them in. They have 0 skills, 4 children.
No one has 0 skills.
When you're bringing uneducated people in, when you're not vetting these people, when these people are bringing 2, 3, 4 children along with them, with the benefit, the reason they're coming here is for the benefits that the taxpayers of the United States pay for these people.
The reason they're coming here is to get the hell out of where they're from.
Well, maybe if they got off their ass where they're coming from and did something, then the place they're coming from wouldn't be so bad.
No, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I gotta laugh at that. I gotta laugh at that real quick. That was funny.
Okay. It's not true.
I'm gonna be the most hated person. It could be true. That's it. All I'm saying is, why can't we vet the people?
Okay.
And say, we want educated people to go to the front of the line, the people that do not require food assistance or health care or an education to go to the front of the line in a legal process.
That's already part of the application process, is establishing whether or not you have a degree, and then you do get bumped to the head of the line.
Okay, the people that are coming across the border illegally are mostly, about 60%, it'll come. Or remember the intro.
Yeah, remember the intro. That's do your research.
Yeah, remember the intro. Or women with 2+ more children. So where are the men coming?
Who gives a shit? If
Everybody
women with
gives a
2+
shit.
children want to come here to make a better life for themselves, more power to them. Either the men are in their home country busting their ass like you suggested they do, or they're dead from friggin' gang violence or any number of other issues that cause people to flee their native country. Because people don't like traveling halfway across the world for the potential for freebies, but very likely a jail cell. It's like, it should not be a crime to try to improve your life. And treating people who are just doing that as criminals and shoving them into for-profit detention centers and for-profit prisons is shitty. And only matters to the people that are making the dollar and people who are terrified of scary people that don't look the same as them. You have 10 seconds.
We're going to do 10 seconds of fuck your couch. This is part 1. It went to the border wall. We will have much more facts and everything going on. Alright, so there we go. But if we go to the, there we go. So we go to the comments, and there's only one person. So the one person that commented actually states, "My papa worked hard for everything he had when he came across to Ellis Island. He was a great grandfather. He was my grandfather." So, on a quick side note,
Legit.
that was a pure-blooded Italian that came over through Ellis Island, had nothing. Actually started a business in Denver after traveling west from coming over, and had nothing. I don't see all of these people. We're going to do 30 and 30.
Okay.
So I'm almost done.
All right.
Come over, have an education, do something to love America, and stop flying Mexican flags when you're living in America to make America great. That's what's going to happen. Americans are pissed off that people are coming across the borders, speaking Spanish, flying the Mexican flag, not on Cinco de Mayo. That's their day. I get that. But, I mean, come on. You're here to make this country great. And if you want to be great, have an education, don't be on food stamps, and don't ask for public assistance.
My 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can have a little bit more.
You can come over with any flag you want. You can wave it whenever you want. And you can speak whatever language you want because the United States doesn't have a national language. And that's what makes us great. Everybody who wants to come here should be able to. This used to be the land of opportunity, not the land of shitting our pants in fear every day. And it can return to that, but in order to do that, we have to pull our collective heads out of our asses and realize that immigrants are people and all people are equal, and by coming here and contributing and being a valued member of society, you will be an American. And I'm sure after you get your citizenship, you will wear that badge proudly, because people that come here want to do that. But again, this is part 1. We're going to revisit this just like gun control last week. We're going to space them out a bit, let it percolate a little, and then we will return to the topic. So for now, I think we're going to move on to topic number 2, more lighthearted. I debated bringing up either gymnastics or drone racing. So for the purposes of gymnastics, Simone Biles is the greatest of all time. She just performed the first ever triple-double in a women's competition and crushed it and brought home her 6th national gold. She's friggin' amazing. Everyone should check her out. And if you're not a fan of gymnastics, it's worth it. It's humans being amazing. On a related but completely opposite end of the spectrum is drone racing. Drone racing is a relatively new phenomenon. It's only come up in the last few years. And Drone Racing Live is now making national broadcasts for NBC, and they are surprisingly compelling. These guys are operating at their peak mental performance, flash reflexes, and I know a lot of folks like NASCAR. This is like NASCAR amplified. It's crazy exciting, and I would highly recommend you check it out. Drones as a hobby, take it or leave it. I'll let Davin speak to that. But Drone Racing Live is really rad, and I think everybody should check it out because it's cool and fun and fast.
Alright, I'm not ignoring Jack at all. There is a guy on YouTube that I have watched. It's UAV Futures, specifically. And he has these video builds, $99, $200, $300, actually drone racing builds. Drones, unfortunately, is kind of the underside of all the cool shit. It should be huge. You get the first-person goggles. You go out somewhere with some arches, some tubes. It's some awesome stuff. And prices are going down. I will put a link after the view of this guy's builds, his racing, his previews. It's some fun stuff. It's kind of like, back in like '95 when VR helmets first came out, and you used to go to like those little shops and you stand in those and you put the helmets on and it was all blocky, kind of looking.
Lawnmower man.
100%. It was awesome. Drone racing is cool. There will be one day Jack and I will go out and crash a $100 drone, maybe on purpose.
That's gonna happen.
But I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's good stuff.
It's so freaking cool. And having a first-person perspective using the actual headset that's through their camera takes it to a whole nother level. You are flying with the drone, and it is bonkers. And you have to be on your A game. And these guys in DRL, the Drone Racing Live, it should be called the drone. Anyway, are there. They're zero mistakes. And another cool thing about it is the company that puts it all together has hundreds of these identical drones, and so they can crash every single race and still get a brand new, perfectly calibrated drone for the next round, which makes it crazy exciting because they can be hyper aggressive and try to cut the sharpest turns, all using this first-person perspective and insanely quick reflexes. So 2 thumbs up, and if you get an opportunity to check it out, I highly recommend it.
Drone Racing League on YouTube, 98,000 likes.
Oh, it is League, right on.
Yeah. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button, which my teenage daughters say that it doesn't necessarily work, but check us out every now and then.
And subscriber check, we're up to 18 subscribers.
18, boom. I don't want to at all go over what Jack said about the gymnastics stuff. My daughters were huge into gymnastics when they were young. Unfortunately, I'm just over 6'1", so as soon as they hit puberty, they're like 5'8", both of them, at their teenage years, so they can't do that anymore. But USA Gymnastics is great until somebody kneels for the flag. Fuck you, fencers. Fuck you, fencers.
Another day.
All
right. Brief pause for our beer of the week.
Oh.
This is from Colorado brewer Great Divide. This is their vanilla oak aged Yeti. It's an imperial stout, so we're gonna sip gently. But yeah, we're gonna do this every week. Find a local brewery that we want to try and spread some love, and also have an opportunity to drink delicious craft beer.
Oh, it's nice and dark. A lot of head.
It's a little warm, but that's okay. Even though it feels like blasphemy. There you go, I'll do a better pour for you.
Oh, you're good. Oh, switch it up. You're good. No, I honestly, and maybe that's a weird thing, but like with the Guinness or the Darks, I really like the head on the beer. It seems to be a little bit more
It's
tasteful.
absolutely necessary, yeah.
Yeah.
You need head.
Oh, we all need head.
Alright, so since Davin had the opportunity last week to cover some facts, this week it was my ball. So I snagged a couple video game facts, a couple music facts, and one random one that hopefully will be close to Davin's heart. First off, in music. Today in music, 1965, the Supremes first recorded Baby Love with Motown Records. It was their second of 5 songs in a row to go to #1 in the U.S. Much love to the Supremes. Also, and more in line with modern kids and the whatnot. In 1994, they tried to redo Woodstock, and it was Woodstock 94. The headliners for that event, which was arguably a shit show, but still a part of history, were Green Day, Nine Inch Nails, Aerosmith, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and a whole slew of others. I remember watching it on TV and being like, alright, this is cool, but it's not Woodstock. Anyway, it was a noble effort, and more props to them, and it was a lot of badass bands, so it's a great show. In video games, 28 years ago today, August 13th, 1991, the Super Nintendo was released. It pretty much revolutionized video game consoles as we know it. Obviously, the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, exploded into pop culture and American culture when that was launched, and SNES is their second generation. Some of their initial launch titles were F-Zero, which was a badass racing game, and then Super Mario World, which was their iteration of the Mario Brothers franchise, one of the greatest franchises ever, and Pilot Wings, which was yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah.
That was one of the first 16-bit where you could actually fly around and have to go through and actually have a very deep depth of perception.
Yep.
In that F-Zero, there was another one. I don't know if it came out around that time. I just like the RTS stuff. One of the first SimCities came out on the SNES.
The original SimCity came out that same day.
Yeah, it was awesome. I liked building stuff. And then, of course, a few iterations later, you could have the meteorites, the earthquakes.
Oh, heck yeah.
You could
The
kill
disasters.
people, and then all of a sudden, Godzilla would come through and just ruin your 4 days of shit you made. And yeah, you would rage quit, but it was fun enough to just build it up again.
Yeah, SimCity revolutionized created an entire genre of games. I think that's fantastic in its own right. Also, tomorrow in history, and also 30 years in the past, so 2 years before SNES, or a year and 364 days, Sega Genesis came out. And they're also blew minds, and I was of the neighborhood where you were lucky enough to maybe have one or the other. And if you didn't have one or the other, you knew friends who had one or the other, and you'd space it out so you could play all the games because they weren't compatible. And that was half the fun and the competition and the spirit of consoles, and kind of in their infancy or maybe even their teenage years was the Sega Genesis and SNES times. This one was fun though. One of their initial launch titles was Alex Kidd. Devin, have you heard of Alex Kidd?
I have heard of Alex Kidd.
And I have only heard of it. I never played it, and that was Sega's mascot. That was their answer to Mario, and people weren't digging it. They had the Sega Master System beforehand with Alex Kidd, and everyone was kind of meh, he's no Mario. And then that's what eventually led to Sonic the Hedgehog. But Sonic wasn't even an initial release with the launch. A couple of the other games were Altered Beast, classic, and it started out as an arcade, but it got ported to Sega Genesis. And then also Golden Axe, which is one of the greatest co-op games ever. Like, I don't know anyone that played arcade or Genesis back in the day that doesn't absolutely love Golden Axe.
No, and Golden Axe was actually considered a sequel to the Altered Beast series.
Right, yeah.
Yep. So I'm going to stop you real quick. I turned the light on, so here we go. We're talking about video games. When you say Alex the Kid.
Yeah.
So around 84 to 86, we're in elementary school, okay? The NES comes out, okay? Everybody has them. Mm-hmm. It's great. Not this kid.
Yeah.
Okay? So you go to school. Everybody's like, who has it? Who has it? Who has it? And then after school, you all go to that one person's house.
Oh, heck yeah.
And you never get to play. You get to watch somebody play. Or you're so far down on the list, by the time it's dinner time, you don't get to play.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents would not buy me a Nintendo at all. Ever. They're like, no, you good. You got an Atari. Have fun. So the only way I could get a Nintendo was to buy it myself.
Oh, yeah.
So I started working at 13 at a paper route in the afternoons.
Mm-hmm.
Worked for about 4 or 5 months. Got $200.
Which is a lot of money.
It's a ton of money back then. So, I have $200 in my hand. And I'm like, wait a minute. Everybody has a Nintendo. Why do I want to buy a Nintendo?
Uh-huh.
I have sat in other people's living rooms for hours watching them play Nintendos.
All right.
So, guess what came out after the Nintendo? TurboGrafx
yeah.
16. Yep. $199 price tag.
Nice.
Yep. So I had a cousin that was actually working at a Good Guys way back before Circuit City, and got a TurboGrafx 16.
Fancy.
Which was awesome, and I got more shit for that than ever, because it wasn't as good as a Nintendo. It wasn't a Nintendo.
It was 16-bit.
Yeah. No. So I went from 94 to 99 without playing, maybe an Excite Bike, if I could stay real late.
Bike, yeah.
You know, still stay later than the other kids that had to go eat dinner. And I'm like the last one jonesing, like, hey, can I play? So I got to play some Excite Bike on the NES. So I actually got a TurboGrafx 16.
That's awesome. I never had that.
No. And the Turbo, like you were saying, Alex Kidd for Sega before it came in, Keith's Courage was actually one of the biggest TurboGrafx 16, and then they came out with Bonk's Adventure.
Right.
Now I have sitting over here, I have tubs full of retro games from growing up, saving, buying, seeing stuff. One of the hardest systems to actually buy for is the TurboGrafx 16.
Makes sense. Less popular overall.
Yeah, I mean, it was just crazy. That was my side story of how I never got to play the NES because my parents made me buy it. So I had to go out and get a job at the age of 13 and save my own money up. And when I had the chance, I bought a TurboGrafx. It was cool. It was fun.
Sounds like the right move.
But there wasn't a bunch of kids in my living room wanting to play it. So, yeah. Thanks to advertising and all that fun stuff.
All right. And last bonus fact regarding video games, also today in history, but it was only 6 years ago, Payday 2 came out, which is, in my humble opinion, the greatest heist game of all time. Robbing banks and just having a good time. I can't speak highly enough. I feel like I've kind of beaten this horse about video games this time around, so I'm going to let it go. But Payday 2 came out this day 6 years ago, and it is epically awesome. Thousands of people still play it, and if you like to play video games about robbing banks or delivering the loot, that's the game for you. Last but not least, did a little looking into Sphinx hairless cats today. Devin and his family have an adorable hairless cat, and so I was a little bit curious about just how they came to be and what caused it, so I dug into that a little bit. The short version of the story is that it is a natural occurring but exceedingly recessive and rare mutation of the KRT71 gene. Basically, any mama and daddy cat can make a hairless cat. It's just crazy rare. They started being bred in 1966. Basically, this dude whose name I'm going to butcher, but it's Ridyard Bawa, who was a science graduate from Toronto University. He heard about these cats, so he bought a bunch of them and then contacted his mom, Yanya, who was in the business of breeding Sphinx cats. So she knew a thing or two about breeding, and they are the ones that started selectively breeding for hairless cats to enter the quote-unquote mainstream of cats. But yeah, it all starts out with a natural mutation. They just found multiple cats that had that and then bred them together, and then a few of theirs have that, and then it's so on and so on.
Nice.
So I was like, that was pretty neat. And the first cat, the first Sphinx used in breeding, guess what his name was? It's adorable. Or her name.
It's not Harry.
It's not Harry. It's Prune.
Prune.
Because they're all wrinkly and adorable. But yeah, because they don't have hair, they run hot. Because they don't have hair, they accumulate skin oils more frequently, which requires more frequent bathing. And also, for a reason not many, I couldn't find much on it, their paw pads are a little bit thicker, which makes them look like they glide a little bit more as they walk around. But yeah, predominantly affectionate and great cats to own. I know from secondhand experience because the cat Davin has is a sweetheart. And that's all I had to say about that.
The Sphinx cats, cats like baths, which a lot of people think they don't. You have to give a Sphinx a bath weekly. The hair, like our hair, pulls the natural oils away from the skin in the hair, and then the cat actually licks those oils off to be clean. And in the Sphinx cat, it can get dirty. And actually, there's a ton of videos. You put them in the bath and scrub them down, just like you and I would. It's a very hard cat. There is a lot of issues with them. If you want a cat that you think is a normal cat, do not get a Sphinx cat. They have to have attention. They love companionship. They need you home. You can't leave for 8 hours a day and think, oh yeah, he's just going to lay around. It's not really a cat. We call him more of a feline. He does run hot. I mean, he's running about 99 to 100 degrees.
Dang.
Oh, he's really hot during the wintertime, which is strange because right now it's 91 degrees in the garage that we're sweating, and he will sit in front of a heater. I mean, he loves the heat. He wants his sweatshirt on. He wants to be warm. It's kind of weird. But they're great cats. They need a lot of attention. So don't go out and be like, I need a Sphinx. We rescued ours and spent a ton of money at the vet in order to get him healthy to come home. But they do have a lot of issues, but they are not a normal cat. They're really awesome. So,
there you go.
Yeah, that was some good stuff.
Right on.
All right.
To the bucket.
Not yet. Wait, what do you think about the Yeti?
Yeah, good call. Good reminder. I actually think it's really tasty. So you can taste the alcohol for sure, but it's on the back of your tongue. So it's not it doesn't make you scrunch up at all. But after you swallow, you'll know it's there. I get the vanilla. I get the.
You know, you just said it.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
Either way, only for Yeti will I say those things. But yeah, it's good. I think it's good. What do you think?
No, I like it. What I found out, me and a couple other my buddies, the older you get, it's kind of like you get the normal Budweiser, Bud Light type drinks. And your palate as you get older definitely changes. So a lot of the custom stuff, the darker you get, the older you get, it's more fruitful and tasteful, and you actually enjoy the flavor of it, rather than going to a kegger when you're, 21-ish, and you just get whatever's in the keg that's cheap.
Yeah.
Now you're older, you actually have a palate. And I really enjoy the darker beers a lot more because it's flavorful. You can actually taste the different flavors as you're drinking it.
Yeah, and appreciate the effort of a local craft brew.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 thumbs up for Great Divide.
All right, we'll go to the bucket.
Bucket.
Let me check the. Okay, that's muted. Let me check the chat real quick. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Tony, bring Harry. I already asked that. I texted in that chat. Another game real quick in the chat that somebody put was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Was that I thought that was NES.
Yeah.
That came out today?
No, just talking about games.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Okay.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was incredible.
So here we go. There's actually 2 versions of Punch-Out. There's the Mike Tyson version with his name all over it.
Mm-hmm.
And the second version, after he got through some legal issues, and they actually made, I want to say Bad Bull, the champion.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he still looked like him, but they call him something else, like Mr. Finn.
That's why we're in the garage. Alright, so, on a side note, two sections of Punch-Out.
Yeah.
But they actually took him out after his legal battles on there. So, real quick for everybody, this is a Sphinx cat. It is 99% hairless. Oh, he's going to sneeze all over the place. And as you can see, like Jack talked about, I mean, the paws, the pads are great and big. He's running. Here, just feel him real quick. Feel under his armpits how hot he is.
Oh, yeah. He's hotter than the garage, and the garage is hella hot.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. Oh, hi.
They're good. It's kind of like Peach Fuzz. He loves being outside, won't wander far, and definitely loves the beards. But he's outside checking it out now, so.
Got the sneezes.
Yeah, a little bit bigger than a cat in general, but.
Adorable.
Yeah, adorable. Let's see if we'll start rubbing the beard. No, he just.
December.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
They will. You can only let them out when the sun goes down because they will get a sunburn. I mean, they will literally get a 2nd-degree sunburn and blister and peel, and it is not fun at all. It happened kind of once to us. He snuck out, and then a few hours later he was saw at the front porch, and aloe, like a bath full of aloe and lotions and everything, and luckily he didn't have to peel or get blisters, but they are not an outside cat whatsoever.
Good to know.
Good to know. Punch out. So it was another one of those games you're playing, and you all had those friends, and I'm gonna send this to a buddy of mine who I would sit there for hours as he knew every single move. You know, Glass Joe, the hippo guy, every single move.
I
and
still
about
think I do.
an hour later, he's at Tyson. And then everybody starts sharing the Tyson code, because back in the day you could actually have the Tyson code.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I have never gotten past the first or second guy, because I just didn't play it.
We only beat it once, but I remember Mike Tyson was incredibly hard. Like, his pattern was way faster than anybody else's, and it took a bazillion attempts to finally get through. But when it did, it was one of those table flipping celebrations where you finally did it. And part of the reason NES was so great back then is because you had those moments. But heck yeah, Punch Out, like, classic, one of the best.
All right, we're good, so we're going to keep going. So I'm going to go into, since we're talking about NES. And I actually have a Retron 3 sitting right here. That we're going to get some Let's Play on the channels. Jack and I might even put in the code and have him try and beat Tyson.
Get clowned on.
Yeah, because there's no way. There's no way. One of the hardest games, but it was actually something, I think the NES was something that actually brought people together in homes.
Oh, for sure.
I love online play. I think it's great. On a side note that somebody might hate on, I think the internet online stuff has taken away from the camaraderie of sitting around a friggin' controller.
Yeah.
And just having people cheer you on and
I agree.
Getting through it.
I mean, I understand that. Like, there's a whole new community nowadays, but I miss being shoulder to shoulder with my boys playing Nintendo 64, like, and rotating through GoldenEye or Star Fox, and there is something lost to that when everybody's back at their own house, just, you know, playing their own way in their own game. But on the same token, as a working adult who still loves video games, it's hella convenient just to be able to log on, throw the headset on, and chat with the boys and bust some hits.
Yeah.
So I mean, yes, I miss it. Yes, I loved it. But I also love what we're doing nowadays too.
Oh yeah, no, it's a give and take. I think the biggest thing is that some of us have had an issue with is getting too involved with the online stuff compared to reality and what you need to actually do as a man or a person. Speaking of, Vanilla Wow, did you get your name?
I did. I did get my name. I logged on yesterday and got my names on our server. So I'm prepped. I think it launches in 2 weeks or something. I don't know. I'm going to be on vacation. But I'm still excited for it and got the nostalgia feels. And so, you know, here's hoping. We'll see what happens. But I did reserve my name.
So are we? Are you? Is there some sort of clan? Some sort of clan system?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the boys. The boys.
What's that, boys? That's what I'm trying to.
That's
what I'm.
My boys.
Yeah. That's where I'm trying to go to.
Well, yeah, my guild, our clan, has been around since '97. We're called Murderers Inc. and we're all over the place in a ton of different games. And
What did it start out in '97? Where did Murderers Inc. first start? In what game?
Ultima Online, the greatest game of all time. Yeah. It all started back then, busting heads, and that's where it came into. And I don't know, I'm not gonna rant for an hour because we got to go to the bucket. But on another day, I'll wax historic about Ultima Online because it's still, in my opinion, the greatest game ever made. And I would play it today if, but I don't have the time for that. So
wasn't on a side note. Didn't you say somebody actually? I don't know, not stole the code, but actually pulled the code out and was hosting on their own servers.
Oh, for sure.
Because the Ultima Online just went away after so many years.
Well, okay, so actually their original UO is still around. Like, you can actually still pay like $9 a month to play that game. And the Fly. But the same way that they did World of Warcraft, they basically, people understand how to reverse engineer the games, and then they port that game out and make a free server. Pretty sure it's frowned upon and also illegal because you're stealing intellectual property, but it's out there, it's being done. Ultima Online has free servers out there. Some of them are good, some of them are trash. Same thing with World of Warcraft. There's free servers out there for that. So, and probably for any number of other online games, you just dig around and I'm sure you can find it. So if that's your thing, more power to you. But, be careful.
Be careful. Have fun.
But,
All right.
To the bucket.
To the bucket. We got some time tonight. We're at 51 minutes. So I say we go like 4 or 6.
All right.
4 or 6 will depend.
Gentlemen's first.
That's a big one. Oh. So Jack had the idea to put these in here, and I didn't look at or necessarily, I don't have to approve, but he put some in. So we're looking at mullets. Mullets.
You can't read that.
Yeah. So that says mullets. So obviously he snuck that in there.
Yeah. Love them or hate them. What's your opinion on mullets?
Love them or hate them. All right. So I'll talk. So I have a boss at work that is pretty lenient, laxed, as long as you, of course, get your shit done and do your work. And it went a little while, and I didn't cut my hair. And as you can see, my hair is really short, but if it grows, it just froze out and curls a lot. So I have actually started growing, 88 to 90. I have a 4-inch rat tail in the back of my head. So we all know about rat tails in the late 80s when mullets kind of faded out. People were like, well, I really don't want to get rid of my mullet, so let's get a rat tail. Some societies still use it. It's great. I mainly do it, and you're not really going to see much of it. But I do it to piss my boss off and my kids. My kids absolutely hate it. And what do you do when you're 12 years old and somebody says you can't do nothing? You do it. So I'm not 12, but I have a nice 4-inch rat tail that I'm probably going to braid and put some beads in and go to work one day with it. And I don't know if we can see much.
Oh, yeah, you got it. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, so it's there. It's a little curly. It has so mullets. I think they're great. I mean, nowadays I'm a child of the '80s. I was a little young in the '80s. Any movies from the '80s, I still watch every weekend. I just think it was the greatest storytelling, good versus evil time of the world. Mullets, hey, rock it, why not? I mean, they're coming back with some crazy stuff these days. When my kids show me a song, and I start singing along with it, and I'm like, oh, you listen to Green Day? And they look at me like, you know who Green Day is? I'm like, bitch, please. Come on.
The American Idiot album is your favorite.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
No,
great.
it's not. Just fucking. All right, so on mullets, 3 thumbs up. I freaking love mullets. If you have the courage and the social acceptance to rock one in your place of work or business, do it, because they are an absolute delight. Every time I see a mullet, I am a happier human, and it doesn't matter if you're doing like the classic flat top mullet with the party in the back, or a little bit more refined, like slicked back mullet, whatever you want to do. You want to do spiky all over with the long in the back? You do you. That's the best part, is it's expressive and it's fun and it's people being individuals, and that's what I love. So 3 thumbs up for mullets. They're awesome.
Individuals. Anybody has kids these days? God help you. And just let them be who they want to be. I mean, you can only hold back as much. One day, mullets are coming back. I mean, whatever they want to wear, just support them and do what you can. Because one day, they will take it out, and you'll be happy. It'll all be good at the end. Yeah.
Or they'll keep it for life and just be a champion.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. But
all right, I'm going to the bucket.
All right, I'll hold it. Right. I'll shake it. You added some today.
I did.
Which is good.
Oh shit.
Oh.
All right, we're taking turns on this one, and now I have to rack my brain, but I'll give you time to think. High school story.
Oh my gosh. What category? I know we have drunk category in there. High school kind of goes along. Stories. Yeah, we have drunk stories. So what type? Sports, embarrassment.
You can do sports. We'll keep it quick. I played sports outside of school. In school, I was kind of like screw the establishment. But my boys and I played football and hockey and various other sports that we could think of and make up as we went along. A ton of soccer, mostly hockey. But anyway, the sport I played in high school, which we can debate the merits of calling this a sport, was chess. And I wasn't on the chess team, but I got to hang out in the computer lab on my off hours because I was super nerdy like that, and I learned a lot about chess playing with these guys. And so it was hella fun. They taught me a lot, and I'm pretty sure my high school went back-to-back, or maybe back-to-back-to-back championships for their division in Colorado. So that's super nerdy. The other thing that I'm absolutely proud of is I did a ton of band, and I played trumpet. And the most athletic part of band, aside from actually belting out notes, is were the field shows. And in between, like, halftime, you do all that crazy stuff. Well, we were amazing at stand-up performances, concerts, those kind of things. We crushed all of our parades, but we were utter garbage at field shows. I don't know what the difference or the disparity was, but we shit the bed every competition that we were in for field shows. And case in point, one of the times that we're doing it, I'm there and I had this cool solo thing with another guy, and so I'm kind of in the front of the field, and the color guard is spinning their flags all around me, and it's crazy and awesome, and we're playing, and she slipped, and her flag caught me in the bottom of my chin, and instantly my lip was like, whoop, and just ballooned up, but, show must go on. I'm taking that mentality to heart as a little kid playing trumpet. And so I'm still there just like playing out of the side of my mouth like and it was disgusting looking and hilarious happening, and we shit the bed. I think we got last place in that contest anyway, but it was super fun and I will forever remember it, and I'm so thankful that I played trumpet in high school. And but there you go, there's my high school story.
Fuck, that took forever. I was like, what the fuck? You went from chess to band. On a side note, my daughter was in band, and I was never in band. I cannot believe how much work is actually put into those shows, the halftime shows.
Full show.
I was like, whoa, much respect. What? High school stories or stories?
Yeah, tell me about lacrosse.
Oh, lacrosse. So many stories about lacrosse. Maybe a dozen people will actually understand this, but our junior year in lacrosse out here in Aurora, Colorado, we were actually so awesome that we played on a home field, which is now gone because they took the middle school, destroyed it, and built another middle school on our old lacrosse field.
Hmm.
On a side note, there was a soccer field that actually had cemented goalposts in thirds down the soccer field.
Okay.
Okay? So 4 feet from the sidelines of the lacrosse field, there was 6 goalposts on each side.
Okay.
So we were playing against a rival. We were playing against the preppy Boulder kids.
Oh.
And maybe
80s movie.
Yeah. maybe that kid will post something on here. I hope not, because he probably still hates me and wants to find me. We were killing Boulder on a Saturday morning. It was a rescheduled game. We played them, and it was their homecoming. Or, no, prom, because it's in the spring.
Yeah.
It was their prom. So they came out that morning, and that year, we actually were in the Final Four for the state of Colorado. That's how decent we are. Out of about 32 teams in the 90s.
Hell yeah.
So now, there's 168 teams in Colorado.
Damn.
Yeah, it's kind of grown a little bit.
Quadruple.
Yeah, huge. I'm not doing the math right now. I'm past that. And one thing about lacrosse is you have to keep your head up.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody goes to scoop a ground ball and you're going to get that ground ball and you know they're going to get it before you, the only thing you look at is their eyes. Probably reference to hockey. If somebody's going to scoop a ground ball and they're looking at the ball,
They're about to get lit up.
oh, they're going to get so lit up. So lit up. So this guy obviously was newer, younger. I'm a sophomore, and I was still 6'1", 210 as a sophomore. He goes to scoop the ground ball by the sidelines, and his head is down, his foot's by the ball. It was a perfect scoop of the ball. Until he looks up. And I lined him up about 10 yards and literally lit him up. Perfect. Hands together, stick on the chest, just chest to chest, and lit him up. Well, remember the goalposts?
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah. He ended up wrapping around the goalposts, and the game was delayed by almost an hour.
Dang.
Because they actually brought the ambulance out.
Oh.
Yeah, it was bad. And come to find out, it was his prom because he was a senior.
You ruined a kid's prom.
I ruined his prom.
Oh my
He was in the
God.
hospital and probably a back brace for, he did not go to prom that night. So that's what happens when the preppy Boulder kids come down to ghetto Aurora on their prom day.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All right.
it was one of the badass
Poor
moments.
guy. I hope he recovered.
He still could be limping. I could only hope in a metaphorical sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's go 2 more.
All right.
All right. Oh, it's mine.
Good.
Oh. All right. We're looking at favorite movie.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie.
Shh, there's only one right answer. You gotta go first. You pulled it.
All right, I pulled it. So, I missed it. There's a trash can right there. So, favorite movie of what you have watched the most?
Yeah, like if you had to have one movie, what would it be?
Ton. So my Netflix and Blu-ray is blown up with actually two, same genre, but I'm gonna pick one, and it's Take Me Home Tonight with Topher Keith.
Yeah.
Topher Keith. It's the perfect coming of age movie of somebody who has been to college. He's graduated. He's living at home. He doesn't know what he wants to do, and he finally realizes that it's time to nut up or shut up. And he realizes that you can't just live life in your parents' basement and have to do something to become a man. And at the end of the movie, he rides the ball, which is amazing. The soundtrack is amazing. Of course, it's based in the 80s. It's just awesome. I mean, Take Me Home Tonight, all the references, Suncoast Video, everything else.
Oh, heck yeah. All right.
I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's something I probably watch, I wouldn't say once a week, but once every 2 weeks. You're in the garage, you're getting ready for bed, you just put it on. The soundtrack is amazing. You have the nerdy guy, the hot girl, you have the nerdy friend. I mean, it's just a good movie. Just good overall feel-good movie.
Take Me Home Tonight.
Take Me Home Tonight.
All right. Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh.
Without question.
Oh, yeah.
I have it memorized start to finish. I can literally close my eyes and watch it in my head. It is my favorite movie, bar none, of all time. I love it and can watch it whenever. Even in the background. And a couple of cool things, like John Carpenter obviously made it, and he's an incredible director, but he also made the soundtrack, which is what's so cool about it. Everything's so original. They even had lightning effects that were hand-etched onto the film so it would look realistic.
Yeah, when Raiden comes down.
It's just incredible, and it's campy. It's so over-the-top campy, but I quote Jack Burton, because we share a name, at least once a week, and it's Kurt Russell, arguably his finest campy movie, even though he's pretty much the master of camp success and cult classics. But it is near and dear to my heart, and I have nothing but love for it. So Big Trouble in Little China all day.
Okay, so I kind of got corrected. The ultimate movie. Okay. So, of course I love Take Me Home Tonight, but if you go back to the original movies of the 80s.
Okay.
With the total, and I just forgot, Star Wars actually coined the phrase of the hero that goes through the cycle.
Character arc.
Boom. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Character arc. Of Say Anything. John Cusack.
Yeah.
Say Anything.
I was waiting for you to do John Cusack, man.
Politically, fuck Cusack. Fuck him. He can kiss my sweaty right-wing balls. But every movie he has done in the 80s, especially Say Everything, is like the pinnacle of the character arc for a movie.
For sure.
And that's what I like. And I think that a lot of movies today are either trying to replicate or make is that character arc, which...
Yeah, he was the man. I mean, he still is the man, but he made a bunch of great films when he was industry hot, as they say, and no, that is a classic flick. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Like, wherever you can, because it's fantastic. Completely agree.
Alright, so we're going to go at least one more bucket.
Yeah, one more, because we're over an hour.
Yeah, we're over an hour, but...
Alright. Did you put these back in here?
No.
Well, we did over versus under TP last time.
Well, you didn't throw it away.
Alright. Nutshot story. This is gonna take a while. Shit.
Alright.
Alright, we're over an hour anyway.
Well, we're at an hour 8. We're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Whatever, who cares?
Last one was like 47 minutes, so... Alright, you picked it.
Oh shit, I did pick it.
Yeah. I can go right this second.
I'm gonna go really fast. Well, never mind. It feels like a cop out because it doesn't actually involve a nut kick. But it's actually all right. Never mind.
No. It doesn't have to be a kick. It just has to do with something where your manhood got hit.
Oh.
When did your manhood get hit?
It's impervious. No, I can't think of an example of that. So I'm gonna go with this one, just because I love this story.
You put these in there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And I was like,
sure.
I need to think of this later. Threw it in the bucket, but I'm gonna go with this one just because I love this story. So anyway, my buddy, longtime friend, I consider him a brother, and I were hanging out, and we were watching WWF wrestling when it was still called WWF wrestling, and there was a really obvious fake punch. And everybody saw it, and it was ridiculous, and it was clearly staged, and the announcers tried to...
No, wrestling was fake?
That's a whole other topic. Those guys are athletes, and they deserve respect. But this one was really obvious, so the announcers tried to recover for it and cover for him, and they're like, oh, he really telegraphed that one. And my buddy, who was in wrestling at the time, was like, Jack, do you know what telegraphing is? And I was like, yeah, motherfucker, do. And he's like, no, this is telegraphing. And so he comes in front of me and like waves in my face, and then he's like, smack, and smacks me across the mouth. And then he hides behind me, doesn't wave in front of my face, smack. And he's like, that wasn't telegraphing. This is telegraphing, and does it again, smack, and then runs behind me. And I was like, oh, it's on. So I jump up and I'm ready to roll. And I'm thinking I'm gonna like pretend to kick him in the junk. He's thinking I'm gonna slap the hell out of him. So he ducks, I raise my knee, we end up colliding, and I put his teeth through his lip. Oh. And so my knee ballooned up like a watermelon, and I limp upstairs, and he's like, look what you did to my face. And I was like, look what you did to my knee. And then he like peeled his teeth off his lip, and we both laughed and shook it off, and that was that. So it was nearly a nut shot, but not.
Nearly a nut shot. Okay, so anything in the 90s in high school is obviously going to go back to lacrosse.
Mm.
Okay? So...
Oh, I have a hockey story. Anyway, sorry.
Hockey next, you're good, real quick. So, of course, I'm in high school. My cousins came out in '89 in Reno, where I was living, and introduced me to lacrosse. Sticks, played for like a week. They were out there. It was fun. On the West Coast at that time, they didn't have lacrosse. Moved to Colorado in '91. They have lacrosse. Started playing. So you're a freshman in high school, and you get all the lacrosse equipment.
Right.
Right? Do you want to go get a cup with your mom at the store? No.
I mean, I did for hockey.
Yeah. No. I did not want to go cup shopping with my mom. So for 4 years in lacrosse, in high school, I never wore a cup. There's
Playing
a few.
with fire.
Oh my gosh. My kids watching this, you are lucky you're here right now. There's a few times. There was one time, of course, where you roll dodge or face dodge somebody, and you just fake them out. Lacrosse in the early 90s was so new. Anything outside of the West Coast, you really had only special people that would play or do it year round to know how to actually play. Mm-hmm. So you would face off with somebody in the midfield on offense, they're on defense, and you could tell really quick if they knew what they were doing.
Sure. With
a 42-inch stick. And you would just do a little fake, see how they reacted, mm-hmm. and you would do another fake and run to the goal. Well, sometimes you would fake them out so bad, the only thing they would do would swing the stick. Yeah, when you're 6'1" and 220 in high school, you're kind of big, and you would get racked in the nuts all the time. So you would fake them, go to the goal, you score, not score, and then after you're done, you would just collapse in front of the crease.
But you gotta go to the goal.
Due to contrary belief, if you get kicked in the nuts, you literally have like 1 or 2 seconds to process it,
yeah,
before you realize I can't move anymore.
Yeah, and I might throw up.
Yeah, yeah. So it was literally, I went in, faked a guy, went to the goal, scored, and he had slashed me straight in the nuts because I wasn't cup shopping with my mom, and dropped. So the coach comes out, he's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I was like, yeah, I got cupped. And he literally picked me up in a full Nelson, and fireman dragged me off, and I laid there for the rest of the game. Yeah.
It's no joke.
Nope. And they do, I don't know the terminology other than saying they swell to 100 times their size, but they actually get larger. Yeah. It's not fun.
I'm not even going to try to top that. Let's wrap.
Yeah. All right. So we got a ton of topics coming up for the weeks. We got everything going on. We're trying to get a somewhat of a format going.
We're figuring it out.
We're just having fun. Like, share, subscribe, say hi. We got the live chat going.
Thank you, both our viewers.
Yeah, everybody that's watching. Share it on Facebook, whatever. We're not necessarily going to get any money. We don't want money. I mean, it costs 40s. Maybe at some point we'll get a Patreon so somebody can get us some decent beer that we can drink at some point. But
until then, we'll keep trying local craft breweries.
Craft breweries.
But yeah, to sign off, I'm Jack. This is Davin. Do your own research.
Be safe.